Okay. Are you working? Okay, my Discord OBS is doing something really weird, and I think I might take off the VC person or whatever. I hope that's not a big deal. It's just messing up really bad, and it's just not working right now at the moment, and it's causing everything to lag because I'm uploading a video behind this. I hope that's okay. Today we are talking about VC. Oh my God, not VC. Nikki Phillippi. I think that's her name. And before I jump into the game, we're playing Sims 4 in the background. I'm playing that I decorated the day before in the video. I want to note that two different websites, but I'm going to be different. Um, one website is the American Kennel. Why are you working? Of course you're not. I'm using Insider as one, and then the American Kennel Club as another one. Those are the bottom two. And those will be links to two different breeds. One is the Bull Terrier, which is what Nikki's dog was, and Chow Chow, which is what my dog, well, one of my dogs is. He's a Chow Chow Lab mix. Now, I wanted to know that he is a mixed breed. So he seems to take more after a lab, but he does have plenty of chow chow traits. To note them because dependent when you get a dog, there comes with a lot of research you have to do when you have an animal. Temperament, trainability, what type of characteristics do they have? Are they an indoor, outdoor? Do they like people? Do they hate people? How much exercise do they need? What food do they eat? What like medical problems they could have. There's a lot of steps when having a pet because it's a living, breathing thing. And obviously, like all living things, when it's gone, it's gone. You can't bring them back. But I want to note that in this case, I get really sketch vibes. Mostly because of one, the thumbnail, and two, well, actually, there's three things. One is a thumbnail. Two is the way what they were talking about, the whole content of the video. And three, just their whole entire temperament during that video felt very disingenuous. Now, obviously, everyone handles grief differently, but I wanted to talk about that because it was very uncomfortable watching that video. It made me kind of sick to my stomach, and what they were talking about, what the dog had done, had done to their son, to me did not seem worth putting the dog down. And maybe it was because of the things that, as the video was talking about, connected to it. For instance, Nikki brought up them moving, and they had to bring up, how difficult it would be when they moved with the dog. That made me uncomfortable. One, because you're this is your video where you're telling people you put your dog down. You're giving them the reasons why you put your dog down. And how did it turn into you moving and why it would have been so difficult to move with the dog? Two, the crime the dog committed that ultimately led to it being put down is them biting their son after the son had shown aggression towards the dog. And yes, I'm saying aggression because the first offense that they gave was him physically harming the dog, i.e. grabbing its ear and basically, to me, causing him severe damage. A second thing was taking its food while it was eating. While Bowser was eating. Their dog's name was Bowser, if you don't know. I didn't know about them prior to this video. Prior to this situation, I should say. And I felt like nothing the dog did deserved it because they said that the dog had basically nipped their son's face. And I don't know if you have animals at home or if you grew up with animals, but I've had dogs bite me. I've had them nip at me. I've had them scratch me. I've had them hit me. I've had them, bark in my face, things like that, extreme things and not so extreme things. I've had animals bite me. I've had full on nip marks in my arms. I've been bit in the face. Um, I know what it's like to be attacked by a dog. However, A dog does not just bite a person, especially one supposedly that was so sweet to you at home and aggressive outside. Now, I have two dogs myself. I have two dogs, three cats. I have two dogs, a boy and a girl, my brother and sister. That's what they are. They're my brothers and sisters. Um, we have one, the boy, he's a border collie, not a border collie, he's a Chow Chow Lab mix, and our girl dog, she is a Siberian Husky, border collie mix. Two very high maintenance, playful, loud, very loud, and they're very high strung, I should say, stubborn animals. And they're very temperamental breeds. While they can be friendly if raised properly and trained properly, they can also be very aggressive. Just like any animal, you could have a cute little, I guess, you could have like a cute little dog and then it turned out to be the most aggressive thing in the world if trained improperly, is what I'm wanting to make a note. It's just what I'm trying to explain, because I don't think, one, that they trained their dog properly, and two, they didn't even try to. And the reason why I'm going to explain this is because, from the video is what I got is they've had the dog for the better part of a decade, or they've had it for a decade. They said something about a decade, so I'm assuming that they had the dog for a decade. And she made a note to put in the video of her mother's dog, which is also a bull terrier. And I'm wanting to make that note because that means she has experience with these dogs, this specific breed. And you're telling me she doesn't know how to train a dog or ask her mother for assistance for training the dog? I do not understand this logic. Why was the dog put down? That's what I'm trying to get at. Because I don't understand why the dog was put down. I honestly don't. Because to me, I've been bit by an animal. I know how it goes. Sometimes animals are temperamental, or they're not getting along with each other well. Things happen. I am not stupid. I know that. I understand that. I respect that. It takes a lot to raise an animal. It's like raising a kid, except, it's a lot of work. What I'm confused is, one, why didn't you mention you taking it to a trainer? Why didn't you mention, different methods you used to try to, rehabilitate him? You mentioned rehoming him. Obviously, that didn't work out. Why didn't it work out? What happened? What were the situations that led it up to that point? And most notably, what I'm confused of is, why is it the dog's fault that you were unable to, this is going to sound harsh, but when you have an animal and you have small children are really aggressive towards other small things. It's like a form of dominance. They don't real sometimes it's a form of dominance. Sometimes kids can't control their strength and they think, "Oh, I'm not hurting it. I don't understand." When you have a child, you essentially have to train that child to respect that other living thing as they grow. From what I understand, your son was pretty aggressive to that dog. You admitted that he pulled its ear. You admitted that, he was taking food from Bowser. And I'm assuming, from my standpoint right now, that this wasn't a one-time thing. I'm assuming this wasn't a one-time thing because kids don't just start doing that out of the blue. It's never a one-off thing, especially if the dog is used to being in that home with that child. Because you made the comment, it's only when the animal's outside and with other people or other animals outside of your family that the dog has issues, is what I'm understanding. So what is this issue? What did the dog do that was wrong? I need it to make sense. And then for them to mention about them moving. And all I could think was, you got rid of your dog, didn't you, so you could move? That was like the first thought when they said that. And I was like, no, don't think things like that. They're probably hurting too. Everyone deals with grief worse because I was like watching them talk about their animal, being, euthanized. And all I could think was, are you freaking kidding me? While we were watching them. And I was like, you guys are all I could think was, these are the most fakest people I have ever seen. It was a living thing. And you're telling me you couldn't put more effort? And it was just the way she worded about moving, how like difficult it would have been moving. Why would you say that? You're in this video, you are trying to make people feel bad for you. That you had to put your best friend down. Man's best friend, is dog, You put your dog down and you're trying to like build sympathy for that. And then you say something like that. And that's where your mind automatically goes. I'm sorry. It's where your mind automatically goes. And I'm watching this and I'm like, what is wrong with you people? What made you think that that was okay? Because it wasn't from where I'm standing, and you can say whatever you want to me. I get it. It is what it is. But from where I am standing right here, right now, I'm sick to my stomach. Why would you do that? What were you accomplishing? Did you accomplish something? No. You didn't win my sympathy, that's for sure. But you made me sick to my stomach, I can tell you that. Because that's where my mind went. I was like, oh my God, you killed your dog. I just don't understand how, one, they thought that was a good idea to say that, and two, their thumbnail. Did you see that thumbnail? I got off an insider website, not a website, article. I'll link it down below. But I watched the Insider, oh my God, I watched it on Insider, the article on Insider, because I didn't want to give them, I don't know if they get credit for it. But anyway, I watched it on Insider's article, and when I read an article, I skim it a little bit, I look to see if there's any videos, and I plan accordingly for it, and then I read it. And the first thing that stood out to me throughout that whole article was that thumbnail. That was the fakest, most pity-rearing, I suppose you could say, thumbnail I had ever seen in my entire life. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. This is a joke. Like, this is a joke, right? Like, this is not, like, real. I was like, because this has to be, like, some point late April Fool's joke. Because I don't understand what just happened. For you to make that thumbnail, it was sickening. There is no other way. I saw that thumbnail and I was like, this has got to be a joke. I feel bad. I'm sorry for repeating that, but like it felt like a joke. And the way they were talking about how they put the dog down, and everything that led up to, it felt like the fakest, most heartless, and disingenuous, we had to let a living thing go. So I don't even know how to word it. I cannot comprehend. I can't logically explain the emotions I'm feeling right now because I don't know why. One, they thought this was appropriate to post because I hate to say it, they are a family channel. They probably have a very young audience. Usually family channels have a very young audience, or a lot of families watch them, is what I'm trying to say. It can be adults, it could be young people, What I'm trying to get to is they probably have a very young audience, and then you're posting something about euthanizing an animal. And while I have no problem with you sharing, hey, this is why the dog will not be in any future videos, we wanted to let you know, due to unfortunate circumstances, we had to put the dog down, and just leave it at that. Let people, speculate. That's what I would have done. Because what they did was, one, make me think you really didn't care about your dog. I'm sorry, to me, where I was, you did not care about your dog. And two, it just shows me that you really are here for the clicks. Because that whole video just seemed to, that video should not have been almost 25 minutes. One, they dug themselves into a grave. And this is just me from a business standpoint, because I don't understand why YouTubers do the things that they do. Because they edited that video. Because there was a point where she got up to close the window. They edited that video. They rewatched that video. Someone rewatched it. And you're telling me they didn't think that certain points in that video shouldn't have been edited out? You edited it. Wasn't that sad? And I know people are going to be like, oh, you're so heartless, you know. You shouldn't say that. You know, people deal with grief differently. No. I'm calling it as I see it. From a business standpoint, they ruined their channel. You do not make comments about old yellering a dog. One, that's not what old yeller is about. And two, that comment for a family channel was, you can't even put it into words. It was disgusting. I just, from a business standpoint, everything they talked about in a video like that, you would not talk about. You do not talk about moving and how it would have been such an inconvenience for you on your part to keep the dog. You do not talk about taking the dog back out and, I guess, you know, whatting it. And you, I suppose you would exaggerate, you know, what the dog did. But maybe because they kept playing down, or it didn't really give me a really good reason in my mind to put the dog down. Maybe that's where I have an issue. I'm sorry if you can hear my tower. I every time I play The Sims and record, it sounds like it's dying. But the logic. And then to make it into a 25-minute video, like, did you really need it? Did you need it to make, you know, did you need to make a quota or something? Is that it? Because that's how it looked to me. It looked like you were trying to make a quota or something. I hope you got what you needed, I guess. It's just weird. I just don't understand why YouTubers do the things that they do. And I like I said, I'm just talking strictly from, like, as an outsider looking in on a business standpoint. That video made no sense whatsoever, logically. And as a viewer, it made me sick to my stomach. I hate to end this on a bad note, because there's really nothing I can say that will, like, make up for what they did. The dog's gone. There's nothing we can do about it. You know, I hate to say it, but things like this happen. Some people aren't meant to have animals. It doesn't make sense. Well, that's the end of this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day wherever you are. Subscribe, bell notification, comment.